Hey, it's B Rad Celebrity Hairstylist here, your host of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast, a platform that allows the voices of the beauty industry to empower with the spoken word. Thank you for joining us on today's show. We're currently over 70,000, thank you, and currently on over 50 plus podcast platforms, including Amazon Music, Audible, and Spotify, all thanks to you. So welcome to today's episode of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. So today's title is After the Show, a conversation with Tracy Napotnik. So our guest today is Tracy Napotnik, event host of the Pennsylvania Beauty Pro Expo. So Tracy, I want to welcome you. I'm going to bring Tracy up on stage here, and we'll just give her... Wow, they just love you.
Hi.
So I've had you on a couple of times before, and each year, oh, they're still applauding. So if anybody's watching, just let us know in the audience. So just say in the comments you're watching live, you want to say hi. We always love to bring you up on stage and celebrate you. And so Tracy, this is your third year of hosting the Pennsylvania PA Beauty Pro Show. So I've had you on every year except for now this year we're going to do a special episode called After the 2025 Show. So for those that don't know you, they can look you up because we've got a tight time schedule here. So we're going to kind of get it together. So Tracy, welcome to After the 2025 Beauty Pro Show. For those that might not know you, can you share a tiny little bit about your background in the beauty industry and
Sure.
how you became the face and force behind the Pennsylvania Beauty Pros Expo?
First of all, thanks, Brad. You're always awesome. So I've been in the industry for 30 plus years, salon owner for over 20, and absolutely love education. I think I'm a education addict, as they say. So in Pennsylvania, there wasn't a hair show for over 20 some years. And we said, you know what? Why don't we bring it back to the region? So that's pretty much how it started in our region. So at Seven Springs Mountain Resort, I remember being there back in 1993, my first hair show, and being addicted. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, due to contrary or popular belief, people don't know how hard it is to put something together. It's no small feat in itself. So can you walk us through a day in the life of Tracy during the expo weekend? What's going on behind the curtain that most attendees never see?
Are you talking about putting together the show? Because that's insanity. Or
No, just when you're at the show on that weekend. So that Sunday, Monday that it's running, what's your day like?
Okay. I don't know because I don't remember. That's what it's like. No, it's insane. So we start Friday. Actually, we start like before that, but we start setting up Friday, of course, getting the pipe and drape companies come in, and then we start setting up our own booths and hydraulic chairs that we bring in, and the model rooms for the shampoo. So they have a nice place to shampoo there. Mirrors we bring in, towels, shampoos for the models, all kinds of different things. And then Saturday, same thing. And then Saturday night, we have like a meeting, which we did this year, which we're really happy that we did ahead of time. And then Sunday, it's just complete chaos in a sense. And I guess it's fun, though. It's a fun chaos. So we ended up, we have registration in the morning starting at 8 o'clock. So usually I'm there at the very beginning to get the big flow going and making sure that, the scanners are working and all that kind of stuff. And then people come in, we give them a bag. It has their schedule. That happens Friday and Saturday too. We pack like 3,000 bags worth of material and stuff for them. And then on Sunday, the show starts, and we ended up doing, there's over 100 classes. So going from like my personal booth to making sure that each stage is working, and going my rounds to some of the vendors and saying, how are you guys doing? Do you guys need anything? Do you have your Wi-Fi? That kind of stuff. Working with my team, we have walkies, which sometimes we couldn't hear because it was so loud. So we're like texting each other, calling each other walkies, like, where is this person? Running down to the classrooms to see if making sure all the tech works there, making sure all the people are in place. We have, coat check. It's fun and and crazy at the same time. And then making sure, like, then we have a party Sunday night. Did the DJ get in? Do they know where to set up? It's just all of that.
Yeah, one thing after another. But over the past 3 years, what's one moment that absolutely defined the show for you? Something you'll never forget.
Oh, that's a really good question. That's a deep thought. It's afterwards. It's not during the show, I think, for me. It's afterwards when I see the messages of what a great education, because people go to shows for two reasons, or lots of reasons, but they either go to shop to see, just to get a bargain or a good deal, or see what products are out there, which is amazing, or they go for education. I love both equally myself. However, we started this show 100% for the education. And I was like, I don't know, people want rows and rows and rows and rows of thousands and thousands of vendors. And I'm like, you know what? We want hundreds and hundreds of classes. Like that's our main thing. And to actually see that that's really what kind of unfolded. We have lots of great vendors, but the education by far, that's the messages that I keep getting that says, thank you so much for real education. I'm able to actually take what I learned at the show and immediately implement it into my salon. I've already done this, like just the messages that keep coming in to say, thank you for the education. So thank you to all of our trainers that come in.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I mean, it's amazing to get positive feedback. But on the other side, what's the biggest challenge you've faced hosting the expo, and how did you overcome it?
All right, it's a personal one. So
we go deep here on the show. No fluff. No fluff.
Right. So year one was in a sense a little bit easier because I didn't have a lot of other personal things that happened at the same time. It was harder because I didn't know what I was doing. Whenever I called, vendors and trainers, I said, hey, I think we should have a show in Pennsylvania because there hasn't been one in 20 years. And I think it'd be really fun. And I think it's needed. And I had no idea like how I was setting up the programs. I had no idea like signage, and, told them, I'm like, I don't even know if we're going to get people, but I think it'll be good. But all in all, even though that wasn't like crazy time as far as like planning it, working from, 7 a.m. till night on things. And then after I went to bed at that particular time I would wake back up at like 12 or 1, and then I'd work again a couple hours and go to sleep. But this particular last year's show, I ended up opening a salon at the same time, which we thought would be done actually by December or January. And of course, anytime you get codes and permits and all this kind of stuff, things get backed up and contractors can't come when they say they're already, just all these different things. And so what happened was my salon, and it's a 4,000 square foot, 18 stylist, it's a pretty nice size salon. It opened the exact same week of the show last year. So that pulls me away from marketing and getting things done, because there's only so much time in a day. No matter how much I think there's more than 24 hours. There's only 24 exactly.
Yeah, you can't.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and then this year, where are you going, honey? Okay. All right. They're going somewhere. I'm not sure where.
Yep.
Okay. So, and then this particular year was definitely, I was like, okay, I got the salon going. Everything is great. I'm going to have so much time. And then there was a snowball effect since October. So my daughter fell and had a seizure on concrete. So she had some mouth issues and stuff and teeth. So we were constantly at a hospital or dentist, and then she'd be put under for her work. And then it was COVID and strep, and literally it just was a snowball. And I said, okay, January, we've had every cold here. I'm going to be massively working on marketing the show again. And not that I wasn't at that time too. I was just trying to do little tiny pockets of time. And then in January, I got told I had breast cancer. I was like, oh shit, like this is going to be interesting. Still promoting the show. So I was like, okay, it's just a lumpectomy. It's going to be fine. I asked him, I said, if you're doing radiation and stuff, can I still work? Like, why I'm getting radiation? Can I sit there on my phone and do stuff? Can I make phone calls? Like, how does this work? And it ended up not being just a lumpectomy. I ended up having to go back multiple times for different things, and found out that there was a lot more to this. And now I have to have a double mastectomy, which is June 10th. And they were going to do it May 17th, and our show was May 18th. And I'm like,
Yes.
so
Not gonna happen.
no. So when you say like, what is the biggest struggles? The biggest struggle is because most shows, in my opinion, and talking with people, they have a head of education department. They have a head of vendors. They have a head of the venue. They have the head of meals. They have head of marketing, head of social media, head of gifts, and that's not what I have. So that's just, I'm just very passionate about having the show. But what I do have is I have some people that I hire out, but they all have full-time jobs too. So it's like, okay, can you do this email like this week? Can you do this week? And so like we have great people on the team that work together and do stuff. And I know I'm so thankful for you. I say this all the time, is I had posted, hey, I got cancer, guys, and my time's going to be a little bit limited. I don't think I realized when you have it how much time actually goes out to going to the doctors. And it might be just because I had to switch different places. Like I had to meet with one team and then it didn't work. And then I had to go to another one, and it's just a crazy stuff. So that, and then, I posted, and then you came to my rescue too. And so did some other people. And they're like, what can I do?
Yep.
Like, I just need an email. I need someone to write this really quick. I just don't have the time. But even with that, the time is the biggest sucker of what the challenges are, especially because I have children, and anybody that puts on a show, you have a life outside. And I think sometimes that's where, some people don't realize that there is still life other than what you're still doing.
Well, I know, and you have everybody, you're like, always text me, but I think people don't realize too, like you said, we have a life outside of this event, and probably, even though people text you, which is great because then you have a written confirmation of what everybody says, but they also think you're available 24/7. So so let's go a little bit into community and the impact. So the beauty industry thrives on connection. What has been the most rewarding part of bringing beauty professionals together through this event?
Oh, that's very cool. I'm glad you brought that up. I think I've always been a type of person, when I do something, we do something, and I bring people into stuff that somehow it just happens. And I think that's what my whole company is about, salon training. It's about connecting people to trainers and educators and to jobs and all that kind of stuff. And this show really has connected so many trainers. There was people that I didn't know that were in the industry that popped out of the woodwork that says, hey, I heard about the show. I'd like to be a part of it. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to take their classes and I want to take their education. And I'm hearing that from other people. They said, you know what? I never knew that this company existed. Thanks for bringing them. And it's just like a chain reaction of people and attendees that meet. Like, I didn't know that this salon was right in my neighborhood. And now we're like really good friends. That's the coolest part.
Yeah, and there must be standouts. So are there any standout success stories from past attendees or brands that got their big break thanks to the expo?
Without naming names, because that's their own personal thing that they stuff like that. But I have had some trainers that said, hey, we connected after the show, and now they're working together on different educational events together, which is really cool. As far as attendees go, I have had people that said, they started taking this particular class, and now, well, actually I just recently got another one that said that now she is training with a company because she met them at the show, too. So that's really cool when you see them all starting to connect the dots.
Oh yeah, and it makes such a big difference. And like you said, after the show, which is this episode's about, but now that the dust has settled, how do you personally reflect and recover after such a high energy, high impact event?
A couple of different ways. The first way is we send out, the first 2 years, we just didn't get to it just yet, but we will be, surveys. I love hearing feedback from people because the very first year, people said, thank you for bringing it back. I love it. Da, da, da. But we had questions on there. What didn't you like? What can we change? What didn't work well for you? That kind of stuff. And those are amazing to hear. And someone said, I don't want to put the bad stuff. I'm like, no, we grow this together because we hear what you liked and what didn't, fulfill you. And the first year it was like our signage, something as simple as like, we couldn't see the signs in the classroom. They were too small. I'm like, yep, you're right.
Yep.
And then we changed that. And so I love that kind of stuff. And then, say your question one more time? Because you said something and I thought about something else on
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah. So, what kind of feedback have you received from attendees and vendors? Oh, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. So now that the dust has settled, how do you personally reflect and recover after a high energy, high impact event?
Awesome. So the other part about reflecting is after all this comes in and I get to read it, then I'm like, okay, take a breather. And then my mind is like, okay, what are we changing next year? What are we adding next year?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how I reflect of what was really good. And listen, guys, this is really cool. Everybody's like loving this. Maybe we change this up, and stuff like that. So I think that's how I reflect after the dust settles, is like my mind goes to the next one
Mm-hmm.
immediately.
And with the feedback, were there any surprises that you thought, oh, wow, this is out of left field? Or just something different or something you hadn't thought about? It could be a signage. It could be something that, things that you think you're so organized with getting everything done. It's might be a little point that, hey, we'll look into this for the upcoming event.
Yeah. I think the first 2 years for sure,
Mm-hmm.
definitely the first year. Second year, not nearly as much. And this year, we haven't sent out the survey, so I can't really say for 100%.
No.
But just the feedback that we're getting is from the attendees. Every year, the attendees seem to like it better. They're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
there was more vendors and there's more classes. We've had people over and over again say
Yes.
it was the best educational show that they've been to in decades. And I've heard that
Mm-hmm.
from multiple people. That's like, oh, that's cool. But the trainers and vendors, the trainers definitely seem to really like it. The vendors, I'm going to say this probably the issue that I'll mention is
Mm-hmm.
we've had the first year they did phenomenal, like as far as their sales and their
Mm-hmm.
connections with people. Many of them told me the first year that they made much higher sales even than the big shows. And I was like, awesome, that's really cool. Second year, we had a drop. We had
Mm-hmm.
people say, you know what? I didn't make nearly as much, but I still did good. And they're the ones that talked me into doing the
Mm-hmm.
year three because it wasn't going to be. So
Yes.
vendors are actually the ones that we talked with. They're like, please do it
Mm-hmm.
again. We did good. I was like, awesome. But there is a drop off. And it's because a lot of the same people come again and they've already
Mm-hmm.
purchased a lot of the same products. And so, and also our numbers were down a little bit. That's 100% on
Mm-hmm.
me. I always say that to people whenever we say this. I said, it's interesting. The first 2 years we did postcards, we did advertising stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
told this to a bunch of people that the number one days that we get ticket sales is phone calls. Literally sitting on the phone. Like I drive and I have people that text me salon, in Bedford. Here's
Mm-hmm.
all the salon, and I'm like, don't do it in one whole thing. Just do it where I can click it. So I click it. I'm
Yep.
like, this is Tracy from Cut. Or I'm saying my other company cuts. This is Tracy from Salon Training. Did you know there's a show in Pennsylvania? And we have a conversation, though, and that is something that got pulled away from me highly this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I take that to heart of like, our vendors still did great. We had one vendor that said they did better than the first year and they didn't even think that was possible. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second, another person said that they did just as much as they did the first or second year. We had another one that said, nah, we didn't do nearly as good this year. And so that's the part that I think that makes me like, okay, how do we make this part better? Because when your vendors do good at shows, that, Brad, you're in
Mm-hmm.
this too. And for those of you that are listening that have never did a show, the vendors need to do well for us to keep shows in the region. I can
Mm-hmm.
promise you that, because when one vendor says, hey, I didn't do well, and then they tell another vendor, they're like, don't go to that show. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough people, people
Mm-hmm.
buying. Our vendors did very well from majority that I've heard, but it was a drop off. And I guarantee it's because the ticket sales were down because we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have as much. And it's interesting when I finally had time to make phone calls to say, like, closer to the end, I'm like, I went through all my appointments, got everything scheduled, and my daughter wasn't going through all her stuff anymore. That's whenever
Mm-hmm.
I started making, they're like, oh, I wish I'd have known it's in like 3 weeks. I can't take, and I'm like, I know, I'm so sorry. I'm just getting to you. But they all like, hey, I just want to know next year, when you're going to have it. So we're like, well, we're not having next year, but 2 years. So I think that's the biggest challenge is making sure that you have all three people, your
Mm-hmm.
vendors, your trainers, and your attendees happy.
Yes. Yes. So if someone missed this year's show, what would you tell them to convince them not to miss the next one?
Talk to someone that went, because they will tell you. And I see it. I see the posts. I see the people sharing. I see the comments. I see the messages coming into me, that the education was what they needed, the inspiration. The if I'm sure you believe this too, and I'm sure a lot of
Hmm.
people do, and that love education, is when you feel you've learned it all, then you're going to be stale. When
Yep.
you feel like, oh, I don't need to go to a class, or my salon doesn't pay for it for me, or I don't know, it's not, it's not this huge thing with 30,000 vendors, or whatever. I don't know. That's a big exaggeration,
Hmm.
I'm sure. But it's not always about that. This is education driven so much that we charge under $100. When you buy
Hmm.
in early, it was like $50 or something for a
Yeah, and
ticket.
that's insane. And I still
Right?
say that's insane. That's a no-brainer for people if
Yeah.
you're deciding. For me, if I go, even I went the whole 2 days, the whole 3 days, whatever, and I got one nugget of gold from it, then it's worth it for me.
Right.
So with that sort of thing. So as we kind of look ahead, without giving away too much, or you can give as much away as you want to, but without giving away too much, what are you most excited about for the future of the Pennsylvania Beauty Pros Expo?
Okay. So I am most excited about taking a little break. Just kidding. Um,
Yeah.
no, you worked it with us.
Yeah.
If you were working it,
Yeah.
you see it.
Yeah.
I'm most excited about that. What we're going to be doing in the mid-year, in
Hmm.
a sense. So in the mid-year, I know a lot of everybody wants to do it every single year. It's just like, it is too much to have it every single year. And when we space it out, it gives us more time to talk to more trainers, more product companies, advertise it, and plan it a lot better instead of trying to do everything in like 12 months. Um, but we've had a lot of people ask about, is there hands-on classes?
Hmm.
And we dabbled in that a little bit, and literally that's all it was dabbling. I said, I don't want a part of that. If the trainers want to have a room where they do something and they purchase the room themselves, those rooms are not cheap to
Hmm.
purchase. If they want to purchase that themselves and have a hands-on class, the one year I'm like, I'll purchase a room and we'll share it, and you guys can do hands-on, but you have to market yourself. I am not marketing anybody's hands-on classes because I already have to market the show. And they didn't do as well. And it wasn't because of who they were or what they had to
Hmm.
offer. It's they are busy too. So that, like, to try to market their classes on top of what they were doing. And two, we've heard quite a few quite a few people say, I really wanted to take that and I probably should have. However, I didn't want to miss all the other classes because there's so many
Hmm.
classes. I don't know what to do. So we're like, a couple people asked again this year, quite a few people said, hey, where are the hands-on? I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it during this show. But what we can do is, why don't we do that on our off show? So I know a lot of people are excited to hear,
Hmm.
what are we doing in our off year? So that is going to be, um, 6 to 8 hours. We're kind of planning. It's a 1 day thing, and there will be lunch, and it's going to be in a very large room. And what we'll do is, we're going to have some business type of classes, whether you're a student, whether you're or a stylist, or you're an owner. These type of business classes will be, how do you make more income? How do you drive people to your client, to your chair? How to blah, 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 blah. And so that portion will be a part of it. And then we will have the hands-on part. And the stylist will be able to choose which one they want. So we'll have, a thing that will say, do you want this hands-on cutting balayage class? Do you want this
Hmm.
cutting to figure out how to do a better bobs or whatever? And a razor cutting class, and lashes, facials, we'll have those particular ones, and they can choose that one, and that will be their whole afternoon. So I
Hmm.
think this is going to be pretty fun to do in the mid, and then we do the bigger show again the year after.
Yeah, and that's me great because people love really. I mean, look and learns are nice, but I think when you actually get the feel and you get right in there. So, if people wanted to know more about this, how can people stay connected with you and get involved in upcoming events or initiatives?
So our website, is salontraining.com. The name is there, and that's the website. I've had people say, like, well, where's your website? It's salontraining.com. So when you go there, it's a beauty industry directory. First of all, I always ask, go in there, register your name, create a username and password. You don't have to see the stuff, but when you do, you become a user. And then if we have something major coming up, you get the emails first. So for saying like, I didn't know about it. Get on there. And then the second one is we do a lot on our Facebook group. That's probably where I'm at majority of the time, posting things and sharing things. We know that Instagram, a lot of people really enjoy that. So I can't say that we haven't lived there as much as we should. We will be working on doing more on Instagram and TikTok and all the other social media channels that you have to. We are definitely going to be a YouTube. YouTube is going to be a huge thing for us, that we are going to really, really start doing things where we have classes and having people right there actually teaching on YouTube and stuff like that. So we're excited about that. That's not going to start until I believe October. We're out on that.
So with YouTube, is that a membership thing? Or can anybody watch them from your channel? Or it's something you'll announce later? Oh, okay.
Yes, It's actually both. So we're going to be doing a lot more YouTube, like quick things that, hey, these are the tips of the day, that kind of thing. Right now for our membership, and it's not changed, and it was supposed to be changed price-wise, but we have the show price up there that is absolutely going away here in another day or two. I just have to get to it.
So it means if you're watching this now, grab it before she changes the price.
Yes. It's only because I haven't done it. It was supposed to go away last Saturday. So it's been up for a week. I just haven't gone back to it. But it is $79 normally. Right now, it's still the show price, I think, sitting on there for $57. And what that is you can be a member for the entire year. And that gives you one class every single month with a trainer live virtually. So we had a YouTube instructor on here. It was an amazing class. Tells you like why you actually need YouTube for your salon or for you as an individual stylist. We've had hair cutting classes on there with Philip and Mary Wilson. We've had Gino on there. We've had so many people that are actually at the show actually teaching on this membership, and we have a lot more coming up. I know we have our next one for June is going to be Shannon Mall. She's teaching hair toppers and how to actually do medical grade type of things. And then I believe in July, we have Lauren Gartland from Inspiring Champions. We have that one as a really good thing. We have Bridget. We have all kinds of different people coming on to teach. So I'm looking at my calendar. Oh, yeah. So we have cutting classes. We have coloring classes coming up. So for $57, again, like our prices are so low, and people say, why?
They're so low. Even for me to teach, I charge at least 10 times that for a 1 hour class. So they're getting 12 months. They're getting a whole year. So as we wrap up, because I know you have to go in a few minutes, what's one piece of advice you'd give someone who dreams of hosting, producing, or even attending a major beauty expo for the first time?
For attending, get yourself there, regardless if you have to move some people. I know people get freaked out, like I have to move a client. Move a client, because you know what? When you move that client, you're going to serve that client because you're going to learn something new for them. I think that's really important. As far as if you are putting on a show, just be prepared to stop your life and hold your life a little bit, like your other things, because we always hear about work-life balance. I'm a very big believer in that, but I also don't think it's always an even thing. Sometimes you're going to work more, sometimes you're going to do family more, and you're going to have a seesaw all the time of your life. Just know whenever you do that, it's going to tip to your business, and you're going to have to be prepared for that. And you're also going to have to be prepared to have a lot of money, because if you think you're going to be making a whole lot of money, when you're building this,
it's a big surprise, and it's a shock. And they think all of us that put on events just pocket all the money. No, because we're doing everything for everybody else. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you would like to share with our audience?
I think I pretty much talked about everything.
Yeah. So because I'm trying to get everything in, because I know we're down to the last 2 minutes. But would there be anyone you would love to give a shout out to?
You,
Brad, thank you.
You're amazing. So Brad came in, he's like holding doors, he's packing bags, and he's not one that you have to sit there and tell him a whole bunch of things to do and stand like, what do you do? He like, oh, I see something, she's busy, I'm gonna do it. So thank you for that. Trish has definitely helped. She's on my team. She's like, all right, I'm gonna be down here, I'm gonna be up here, I'm gonna be here, and the trainers and vendors, PA Beauty, I want to give you guys a shout out, because PA Beauty Supply They definitely, like, we had a sink that broke the day before or something. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know if we're gonna have a model sink. Okay, what do we need to give you? And then, they brought it. Seven Springs, last shout out, is just, they're phenomenal to work with. So I know we had talked about, do we want to move the show? Do we not want to move the show closer to an airport? And I have to tell you, for the overwhelming response that we have gotten from people, they want to keep it at Seven Springs for many reasons. One, all the classes are there, the hotel's there. They don't have to Uber. They can just come in and their meals are there, their hotel's there, like everything is in one place. And for working with them for 3 years in a row, if we need something, they're on it. So, but we're not going to be having the hands-on there. We're going to be moving that closer to the Pittsburgh airport so that people can fly in and be able to take advantage of this one amazing day that we're going to be doing for all of that.
Yeah, and that's amazing, Tracy, and all the exciting news. And I hope everybody, if you're just coming in late, make sure to watch, rewatch, put in the comments if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay. So as we wrap up, I would like to say thank you, Tracy, for being on the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. But as we wrap up, what's a quick nugget of gold or message you would like to leave our audience?
I need to thank two more people before I do that.
Okay.
I need to thank my team, my hair team, my salon team, for putting up with, like, hey, let's open a salon. Guess what? I'm not going to be here very much. Other managers are amazing, like trying to fit in pockets of time, and they're understanding that. And to my family, because they deal with all of this, that my poor kids, like, mom, can we do something? I'm sorry, I have another call. I have another meeting. So, sometimes bedtime stories didn't get bedtime stories because I'm finishing text messages. So it's kind of rough for my kids. So thanks to them. So the last bit of nuggets is same thing that I always say is get yourself continuing education, whether it's on our platform, whether it's on Brad to the cruises, whether it's to the premier shows in Florida. We're not in competition. That Pennsylvania Beauty Pro is never in competition. Like, if you're going to tell me that you're going to go to Florida instead of our show, great, because you know what? You're going to go and get education. And that is, the beauty industry is so important to me because we're so looked down upon, or we were at least for a long time, as you can't make any money and you can't make any money. I just had one of my girls yesterday message me. She goes, I just made more than my husband. And then she was so excited about that. I've had 5 girls in the last couple weeks at my salon say I made the most in my career. And it's because they're getting so much education and they're building. And so no matter where you're getting the education, as long as you're getting good education and that you are implementing, because that's the hardest part people do. They'll take all these education from all these shows and videos and whatever, and then they don't do anything with it. They get stale and they go back to their comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. And that's the way it should be. I mean, if it frightens you, you should probably do it. Yeah. So
don't be afraid to fail. That's the biggest thing I see. A lot of people like, well, what if the client says no? Or what if I take this job interview and it doesn't go as well? Or what if I open a salon, it doesn't work? You know what? It's not cutting your head off. Like, you're still going to be able to breathe. You may not feel like you for a day or something, but you're going to get over it. And the failing is a good thing, because when you fail, you start to learn new things and change things. Like, I'm never afraid of failure, because it's a given. You will. You absolutely will. Once you learn that you will, then you just change it.
Well, yeah, and you don't know what you don't know until you know it. So, that's the only way you can know it, is by sometimes failing. If we always succeeded in life at everything, we would never learn anything, because you have no obstacles to overcome. You have no challenges. You have nothing that, even if somebody challenges your way of thought, or, be an industry disruptor, be a catalyst for change, be somebody who wants something more, be hungry for education. And like Tracy said, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. If it's salontraining.com, which has a lot of great, definitely go and check it out. Check out all the educators, check out all the things coming up, check the membership. And on your site too, you list all these other classes, all these other events, all these other things, not just everything is salon training. It's what's going around. And it is the hub, the resource of where people should go to find out what's going on. and check in at least once a week or so and say, oh, this is new, that's new educator, new event, new. I don't want to keep you. We're already 3 minutes over, but we're okay. Oh yeah, you give yourself buffer time.
I 11:15 to 11:20. I was like, so we have like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But
So we got
you can go on there and you can post a job. If that's the number one thing salons are saying is they can't find employees. So go ahead and post your job on there. We can't guarantee that someone is going to reach out to you from that, but being on everybody's platform. If you're on Indeed and if you're on your social media and if you're on ours, I'm going to mention this for sure. That is something when we started salontraining.com, I had someone, probably more than one, that even said, how did they even say it? Like, oh, I can't post my job and my stuff on there because I'm already on someone's. I'm like, that is not, you should be on salontraining.com. You should look for jobs on there. That we're very weak in the job department because that's something that we keep saying that we're going to do. And we have not done because just so many other things. And that's another reason why we're kind of taking this little break in between is we're really going to start working on the platform. So if you're looking for a job, go to Salon Training. If you want to post a job, if you are a trainer out there listening and you have classes, virtual, recorded, or in person, get them on the website, because this is what our goal is for this coming after I heal and go back into work. I'm going to be at these shows promoting salontraining.com, which means I'm promoting you and your shows. And there is zero cost to you at this moment to have your classes on here. Your jobs on here is a free network. And how we work that is we work with our memberships and stuff like that. That's how we make our money.
Yeah, because I know even from the group, the salon training group, it's like people have already posted and there's been lots of response for people looking for salon managers, front desk, hairstylists, like they need it. And people have been just replying like crazy underneath the post. I need somebody. Oh, great. Where are you? I'm here. I'm there. So it's global. So it's all around. Like salontraining.com is not just isolated to only, one certain state. Right. You know what I mean? It's more global than that, and probably you have visions of growing, visions of expanding, and eventually, dominate the world, but have salon training everywhere, sort of thing. But yeah, there are some shows coming up. There's Premier Orlando, which is this weekend that's happening, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't even know what day it is. So it's this weekend. There's Tennessee coming up. So the beauty trade show of the Great Smoky Mountains is August 3rd and 4th, which is with Hair Life, if you want to check that out and see the Great Smoky Mountains. There's also, like Tracy said, beauty industry cruises. So coming January 2026 is our health and wellness healing retreat at sea. So with that, you can join like-minded community of beauty professionals, salon owners, education, because I think that's one thing we need. We need education, but we also need healing and education for ourselves. People like there's Kim Russell, she'll be talking about trauma, who's been at and her class was amazing. Some of the classes I didn't sit and watch, but I actually just popped in, popped out just to kind of see everything was cool and all that kind of stuff. And she had so much interaction in her class, and she teaches all about trauma. She also has a podcast and that sort of thing. So with the healing cruise, it's going to leave from Maryland. We go to Bahamas, and that's... got to remember all the names. So it's January, all of the dates, January 25th to February 1st, 2026. You can go to www.beautyindustrycruises.com to check that out. For the Hair Life, it's hairlife.shop. You can check that out. And salontraining.com, it's salontraining.com. I think that's the easiest way. Your name is exactly what your website is. So thank you, Tracy, for coming on. We try to cram it in. If everybody would love a part 2, I would love a part 2, because whenever Tracy and I talk, we can't stop. And we've already gone again over time. But I want to say thank you to everyone. So remember to get up, dress up, show up wonderfully and powerfully. And I'll see you. Woo, here we go. Next time.
Thanks, Brad.
Cool.